All right, so moving on to the next segment. I'll be sharing my fight prediction for the co-main event of UFC 316 between Juliana Pena and Kayla Harrison. So, Juliana Pena will be making her bantamweight title defense against Kayla Harrison in the co-main event of UFC 316. In my opinion, this fight could be the fight of the night between these highly anticipated female bantamweight fighters, and I'm definitely looking forward to this fight. But these are the following storylines that I have heading into the co-main event of 316. So, first storyline is, can Juliana Pena have success in her first title defense and her second reign as the bantamweight champion? Now, we've seen Juliana Pena pull off one of the biggest upsets in combat sports in recent memory when she defeated the all-time great, the GOAT of women's MMA, and Amanda Nunes back in 2021, late 2021, to win her first ever world title in the UFC, winning the bantamweight title. However, after she won that fight against Amanda Nunes, her first title defense for the in the bantamweight division, when she defended the title against Amanda Nunes, she got squashed in the rematch and lost the title by unanimous decision. Then, after controversial fashion, in my opinion, this is controversial fashion, how she regained the bantamweight title after taking some time off. I think it was a 2-year layoff, but afterwards she defeated Raquel Pennington in the co-main event of UFC 307 to win the bantamweight title. Now, in my opinion, I think Raquel Pennington did enough to pull it off and to retain her bantamweight title, but the judges thought differently, and Juliana Pena won the bantamweight title against Raquel Pennington. And in this fight, for sports bettors out there, Raquel Pennington is a heavy underdog in this fight against Kayla Harrison. I don't know the odds, the exact odds, but I think Kayla Harrison might be a minus 600 favorite, with the champion Juliana Pena being a plus 450 underdog for this fight. So that's showing that Juliana Pena has her hands full against the challenger Kayla Harrison. So we're going to see if Juliana Pena can have a successful title defense against Kayla Harrison in her second stint as the bantamweight champion. Now, the final storyline is, can Kayla Harrison win her first UFC title? In my opinion, since Kayla Harrison has debuted to the UFC, when she debuted last spring, in the spring of 2024, she has looked pretty good. Had 2 impressive victories thus far, but I am very surprised that Kayla Harrison is cutting the weight to the bantamweight, cutting the weight for the bantamweight division, because the bantamweight division is 135 pounds, and I'm not taking anything away from Kayla Harrison. I'm just saying the woman is jacked as hell. And this is her third fight at the bantamweight division, her third overall fight in the UFC, and she looks pretty comfortable cutting the weight to 135 at the bantamweight division. And she's getting a title shot in her third UFC title, or in her third UFC fight. So she's already an accomplished fighter. For people who don't know that much about Kayla Harrison, she's not new to the MMA game. This woman is a 2-time gold medalist in judo in the Olympics for 2012, 2016. She's the first American to achieve that goal. And she's also a 2-time PFL champion. This woman is an accomplished fighter. Now she's in the biggest stage of her career, getting a UFC title fight against Juliana Pena. We're going to see in the biggest fight of her life, can she pull off the win and become the new queen of the bantamweight division? Time will tell. But let's get to the tail of the tape of this co-main event fight. Starting off with the challenger, Kayla Harrison. Her overall MMA record, she has 18 victories, 1 loss to her resume, has 6 victories come away of knockout, 7 victories come away of submission. Currently the second ranked contender in the bantamweight division, stands at 5'8" with a reach of 66 inches. Then I'm looking at the champion, Juliana Pena. Juliana Pena has an MMA record of 13 wins, 5 losses to her resume. 3 victories come away of knockout, 6 victories come away of submission. Currently the reigning defending bantamweight champion, stands at 5'6" with a reach of 69 inches. So the height goes in favor of the challenger, Kayla Harrison, but the reach goes in favor of Juliana Pena. For a striker that has a little bit of a boxing background, we're going to see if she could use the reach to her advantage in this championship fight. But these are the following game plans I have for these respective women to follow if they want to walk out of the co-main event of UFC 316 with that coveted bantamweight title. Starting off with the champion, Juliana Pena. I think Juliana Pena is going to have to use her boxing background. I just touched up on that in the reach category, but Juliana Pena does have a solid boxing background. This might be the way that she carves out her path to retaining the bantamweight title. She's going to be successful in the co-main event of UFC 316. I think she has an effect. She does have effective hands. She's a strong striker. If you look back at that first fight between her and Amanda Nunes, there was some classic striking. That exchange that went on for 30 to 45 seconds with both women slugging it out in the pocket, just going back and forth with some significant bombs, some explosive fireworks in the octagon. But Juliana Pena, she's also good for having effective, powerful hands. She's good at landing the 1-2 combinations in the octagon, does well fighting in the orthodox stance. So if the fight is kept standing, I think this is her best bet to keep the fight standing because she has the disadvantage against Kayla Harrison in the grappling game. Next, if this fight goes to the ground, which it most likely will, there will be times where the fight is on the ground. I think Juliana Pena she cannot afford to make the mistakes on the ground because Kayla Harrison has the strong advantage in the grappling department, in my opinion, compared to Juliana Pena. Don't get me wrong, she is a good grappler, but I just think Kayla Harrison is that much better on the ground. And I think she can hold her own on the ground. And yes, there is a debatable conversation that, you're discriminating or you're including what Juliana Pena can really do on the ground. Yeah, you can say the argument that she is solid, and I think she is. And she did score a submission victory against Amanda Nunes. But that submission victory wasn't that she had Amanda Nunes trapped on the ground all night long. Like I just said in that sequence, for 30 to 45 seconds when they were going back and forth with some explosive haymakers and some bombs and some fireworks, Amanda Nunes was gassed at that point. So once Juliana Pena put the submission on her, she had no reason but to tap out. It wasn't like that Juliana Pena was suffocating her on the ground and making her frustrated the entire night. It was just that Amanda Nunes was gassed and she literally had nothing left, and she was not getting out of the submission based off her stamina starting here and dwindling down little by little. When you're going full wire, when you're going fast pace for a UFC fight that is 5-minute rounds, that's not a good recipe for success. But she does have a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So maybe it's something that I'm not seeing, that Juliana Pena may be able to hold her own against Kayla Harrison on the ground, but she cannot make the mistakes on the ground. If she does, Kayla Harrison is going to capitalize on that, mark my words. Last but not least, she's got to use her championship experience. Now, Juliana Pena she's not shy to championship experience. She's been here before, 2-time bantamweight champion, and her stamina is outstanding. I will say that about Juliana Pena. Her stamina is truly outstanding. Cardio is off the charts. Kayla Harrison does not have the 5-round championship experience in the UFC thus far, and Juliana Pena has the advantage against Kayla Harrison in this department. So I think possibly cardio-wise, if you want to talk about cardio-wise, the longer the fight goes on, it would have to favor Juliana Pena cardiovascular-wise in that department against Kayla Harrison. But use the championship experience, try to tire out Kayla Harrison, and she could be on her way to successfully retaining her bantamweight title. Now, starting off with the challenger, Kayla Harrison, I think Kayla Harrison is going to have to take this fight to the ground early and set the tempo and set the foundation of what she wants to do offensively for the duration of this 5-round championship fight. Because I think Kayla Harrison does have the advantage in the grappling game. She should land the takedowns on Juliana Pena. She's an impressive grappler, an amazing wrestler. And she can ground Juliana Pena and make her feel uncomfortable on the ground. Also gain ground control on the ground. So I think Kayla Harrison, that could be a way to wow the judges. If you're going for a unanimous decision victory, or a split decision, unanimous, or a decision victory, that could favor Kayla Harrison in this department by taking down Juliana Pena and gaining ground control. Next, this leans to the first game plan I just had for Kayla Harrison. If you're going to take her down, landing the takedowns, wear her out, gain the ground control, gain control time, I think Kayla Harrison should go for the ground and pound on Juliana Pena, because if you're going to have her pinned and smothered on the ground anyway, you might as well let the hands fly and rain down the punches on the ground. Whether that's on the mount, whether that's on side control, Kayla Harrison, if she can land the punches going, and she likes to land elbows down as well, I think that she could do that. She could possibly get Juliana Pena in a world of trouble, have her hurt, have her stunned, and she could possibly get the finish if she's already dominating on the ground. Then you're mixing in the ground and pound on Juliana Pena. This could be a way for Kayla Harrison to not only send a message throughout the fight and show her power and set the tone with her power, but this could really set Juliana Pena in a world of trouble for this fight. And last but not least, I think Kayla Harrison has to stay calm, cool, and collected for this fight. Not fall for the surprise that Juliana Pena might have up her sleeve, because she will have some surprises up her sleeve for this fight that she will bring to the octagon. So if Kayla Harrison stay calm, cool, collected, and not fall for the traps that Juliana Pena could have, if she follows those two first game plans that I had and follows the final one, stay calm, cool, and collected, not fall for traps, she could be on her way to becoming a new bantamweight champion in the women's division in the UFC. But with that being said, I'm going to go with Kayla Harrison to defeat Juliana Pena by decision to become the new bantamweight champion in the co-main event of UFC 316. I think Kayla Harrison will be crowned the new queen of the bantamweight division in the co-main event of UFC 316. I think she's just going to be too much for Juliana Pena to handle. I think Kayla Harrison is overall the better MMA fighter in most categories over Juliana Pena. The only category that I would favor Juliana Pena would be the cardio. But I think Kayla Harrison is the real deal, guys. I think it'll be competitive in the earlier rounds, but then at rounds 3, 4, and 5, I think Kayla Harrison is just going to have her way and cruise to a decision victory over Juliana Pena. And if Kayla Harrison takes this fight to the ground, which I expect her, landing the takedowns, gaining ground control, and then landing significant strikes on the mount, going down, landing the significant strikes on the mount in the mount or inside control, that could lead to Juliana Pena getting hurt if she's already frustrated on the ground, with Kayla Harrison being a powerful fighter, being able to cut the weight to the bantamweight division, which I don't know how she does or how muscular that girl is. But I believe Juliana Pena only has a striker's chance to finish off Kayla Harrison in this fight. I just think Kayla Harrison is the real deal. She's too much for Juliana Pena to handle. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kayla Harrison does get the stoppage victory, whether that's way of knockout, or I would not be surprised if she can get the submission victory over Juliana Pena in the co-main event of UFC 316. But that is my fight prediction for the co-main event of UFC 316 between Juliana Pena and Kayla Harrison.